Good morning and welcome to Qigong Live Online. Morning, Mark H, and thank you for your message. And if anybody else is watching today, just type in say hello, so then I know who you are and I can say hello to you. So I do some warm-up exercises today. So we just stretch a little bit into our day. Depends what time of the day it is that when you're watching this. It's morning time here in Bali. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, but it's a different time all around the world. So when I say good morning, it's not necessarily morning for people. And then people watch this at the night time. So it always cracks me up when people say good morning. Have a good morning. I want to have more than just a good morning. I want to have an extraordinary morning. Good seems a bit average. But I suppose good's better than a bad morning. It's one stage up from a bad morning. But I want a great day and I want a great night. I like the term great. I use the word great a lot when I'm writing. So I was out snorkeling yesterday. I did it for my birthday yesterday. We went out in the boat and out to one of the islands out here in Bali. I did some snorkeling. I was swimming around with a fish, as you do when you're snorkeling. And you enter a different world, the underwater world, and it's an extraordinary world. And it has its own dynamic, and the fish have their own pecking order about which fish chase which fish. But what there is down there is a stillness. Even though the current was moving, there's a quietness and a stillness, which is different to what we have up here. And it's really nice just to enter that world and all the colours of the coral and all the different fish, and all the fish live around a certain area, and that's where they hang out. The communities of fish. And these same kind of fish are all through the Pacific. They're the same looking fish, same colours. You see the same fish all the time. Good. Just use your arms. And it's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary experience in sitting inside that quietness yesterday and watching the fish just go about their day. They're doing the fish thing. Yeah, it was great. But it was just the quietness and the stillness, even though they were swimming around. But there was no urgency. There was no urgent that they weren't late for work. I presume they don't work, whatever they do. They just survive, I think. Not get eaten by the big fish. But it was an interesting observation to be in that world, and like a different world. And it was fascinating. And I think they live in a Qigong world. They live in the Taiji and Qigong world because they go slow. And they're in their space, in their present moment. They don't know how else to live not in their present moment. That's where they are. And just to observe, that was quite fascinating. It was fascinating. Just do elbows. We quite often talk about in the Qigong, it's about entering a different world, a different place of existence. And it happens when you go slow. We're going to do some work around this today, but it's about when you go slow. In this world where there's a certain speed. We talked about this not very long ago, but it's just become really prevalent yesterday with the fish and inside the diving. And so the Qigong and the Tai Chi does the same thing. The Tai Chi allows you to be in a different space in this world. It slows you down because you go slowly. As soon as you go slowly, it's like you enter another dimension. And as I say, we've talked a lot about this. And the Qigong does that because you're going slow. You're going slower than you normally go. You're going slower than everybody else. Not that all Qigong is slow, but most of the ones that's done slowly, and then there's ones done really slow, and then there's the ones that Qigong are done static where you don't move at all. And so it just gives you a different experience of this dimension of life in the physical realm, in the physical body. You have a different experience, which is quite unique, because unless you're doing something like the Qigong or Taiji, and sometimes I think there's some slow yoga practices, you'll never get to experience this piece. You'll just be so busy running around doing your thing from day to day. Getting up, having your coffee, going to work, coming home, go to the gym. You'll never actually be in that other altered space, which comes about from, let's do our spine, which comes about from going slow. And the slowness it's unique. And people ask me why do they go slow? Why do you do the exercises slow? Which is a great question, by the way. And I asked my teacher years and years ago about the Tai Chi, why slow? And he gave me various answers, but the one that really resonated with me was about the perfection. When you go slow, you have to be doing it perfectly. Otherwise, the whole thing falls apart. And I'll demonstrate that when we're going to do our class. About the perfection if you go slow, and what happens when you go slow, and the things if you go fast. You can cheat. You can wash off bad techniques, bad habits by going fast. But when you're slow, you can't. It has to be precise, because the obviousness. I don't know if that's even a word. Anyway, the things that are really obvious. They're really easy to see when you're going slowly, because they're going to interfere with your posture. They're going to interfere with the way you stand, the way you move. And you can't, when you go slow, you can't cheat because you fall over. It's like the walking. When we walk, we walk quite precise. Qigong walking's very precise. And every foot's placed very methodically and precise. And the control of the balance. But when you walk fast, you can just stagger from foot to foot, and you can get away with it. But when you walk slowly, you have to have a precision with the walking. And it's really prevalent. Really prevalent if you don't. And martially, so if you do the Tai Chi and you're going slowly, martially, if you don't have it correct, and if you're doing it slow, if you don't have it correct, then your articulation of your arms and legs and everything else is going to be in the wrong place. And so you're vulnerable in that place. So you learn by going slowly where the exact point of rotation, the exact point of movement comes from. Because if you do it any earlier or any later, then it gives your opportunity to your person that you're moving with, or the person that you're practicing with. You're leaving holes for them, and they can just dive in. So it makes you very, very precise of what you do. So it works with the martial thing, that it does with your walking, and it does with the exercise. The exercises are a lot more proficient. They're a lot more exact than people think. The Qigong is about the articulation. Cool. Do our hips. Now, when we do our hips, I'm not moving my arms. So if I just let my arms relax, they're just going to stop. If I move my hips and see my arms start turning by themselves, my arms are just hanging. So it's a great way just to let all the tension out of your shoulders, out of your arms. I'm not swinging my arms around. I'm just moving my hips backwards and forwards. Good. Good. Then stop your hips moving, move the top part. And do this by your shoulders. You move your shoulders backwards and forwards. And it takes the pressure off the spine. Good. Stretch your legs out. Good. To our hamstrings. backwards. Come forward. Keep doing our hamstrings. There's lots of different ways you can warm up. Of course, I'll just do a certain sort of exercise, but there's lots of different ways you can do this. And you just do whichever one's right for you. It's always important to do the stretching every day. Cool. Do your knees. And then up and down with your knees. Cool. Goals. Very good. There you go. Perfect. Pull back on your thumbs. We'll just bow. Go. Bring the energy towards your heart and down to your physical center. So the slowness. So we'll do an exercise that's really will make it really prevalent about the whether you're in precision or not, and we'll do it slowly so it makes it even harder, and then it talks so you can see what I'm talking about. So we'll do a hard exercise first. Well, it's not hard, but it's about the precision, and we'll take it from the I'm just thinking we'll take it from the long life Qigong system, and we're talking about the exercise, and it's I'm trying to think of what bird it is. The crane. The crane flies south for the winter. Yep. And the exercise looks like this in the morning. And the exercise looks like that. You change weight, we're going to the right foot. You change the weight that comes up. Both hands come up at the same time as the foot. Then you step to the side, and the hands come down. Change weight. Hands go to the bottom, then it comes up to the top. They touch each other at the top. Then they come down. Good. Then it comes up to the side again. And you change weight. The foot comes up at the same time the hands come up. And then it comes back down to the side. Comes up. And so these exercises, if you get this exercise, so we can do this fast, and I'll show you the difference so you can see the comparison. We'll do it fast. Yeah. See, so we go, comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down. Swap feet, comes up, comes down. So what you can do in that, and now I just finished there, because it feels really funny to do it at that speed. What you can do inside that, of course, you can cheat. And how you cheat is that you don't have to be in balance. You can when you do this, you can bring your foot up. You can bring your foot up, and you can be out of balance because you can just put it back down again. So I can do this and go back down. But if I do this and I stop and I'm out of balance, I'm going to fall over. Yeah? But you can cheat when you go fast. You can put it down and nobody's going to notice you're not got balance. But when you go slow and you're doing that exercise and you come slow, the weight has to transfer over, and then the foot's got to come up with perfect weighted on one leg. And we're coming up with one leg and the hands at the same time. Now we're moving our arms and our legs at exactly the same time, and we're standing on one leg. And then when the hands come down, the foot comes down. It has to be precise. It goes out to the side, you put your kidney point down, and then you move across. So all of that is done precision. So I'll do that again. We'll go to that same side. So move across. You have to be 100% weighted to get the other foot off the ground for a start. You can't just throw it across and throw your leg up. You actually got to go across 100% weight on your, well, at this stage we're on your left foot, I'm mirroring you. And then we're going to bring the foot up. And as we bring the foot up, there's no change of weight. Comes up, comes down, and it steps to the side. Step first. Precision. Because when I'm here, the foot's down, but I'm still not weighting it. It's just gone down. Now I'm going to come back to the center. And from the center, I'm going to go down and comes up. And then the body's going to, there's a slight lowering of the body that comes down. Then I transfer weight across the other side. 100% weight. Bring the foot up. And then comes down. As it comes down, see, it goes to the side. The foot's flat on the ground, but there's still no weight in it though. I put it down first, and then I'm going to move across. And then I come back to the center. Then we come up. Touch at the top. Bring your hands down. Good. Go back to the other side. Comes up. Change weight. The weight changes first. Then the foot comes off the ground and the hands come up. And we go in slowly, because if you stand there with one foot on, you've either got balance or you don't, because you haven't got balance, you'll fall over. Then the foot comes down as the hands come down, goes to the side, toe goes on the ground, then the heel. Still no weight in that foot yet. It's still not, it's completely on the ground. Then we're going to go back right to the center. Same thing with the other side. Bring the hands up first. Touch them at the top. And the coordination, of course, of this is when you're going slow, is the coordination of when your hands get to the top, and when they get into the top and they touch above your head, and they touch in exactly the same place, yeah? So part of that is when they're touching at the top, you get the two dragon's mouth, which is the lungs and large intestine, just like the mouth of the dragon. And they're actually touching, they interlock with each other like that. Yep. But when you get to the top, if you go fast, you can just touch them and come down, and you don't notice what happens at the top. But if you go slow, again, I'll just do it down here so you can see it easier. If you go slow and your hands are slightly out of alignment, you get that. One's up, one down, instead of being locked and completely where the two thumbs are touching, the two index fingers are touching. Precision. So when you're doing that, that's the precision you're going to get when you get to the top. Yeah? So it's locked in perfectly. Otherwise, you can have your hands somewhere else. When you go slow, it's really obvious that it's in the wrong place. But when you go fast, you can get away with it and don't notice. Yep. So there's another part of it. It's in the same exercise. Comes down. But the precision of this is about to change. Weight change first. Foot comes up with the hands. Standing on one leg. Comes back down again. Toe on the ground first. Then the heel. Still no weight in it yet. The foot's still just sitting there. And then moving across. And the slowness gives you this precision. And there's no other way where you can, this way you do it. It's the slowness shows you if you're leaning, or if you're going up and you do this, but you're actually out of balance and you start falling. You can put your foot down and you don't notice it. If you're going fast, you can just do this. And you don't notice I've changed weight instead of doing that, which is a very different thing, where you put the foot down first. So that's a really beautiful example of that. I'm going to do another exercise just equally as difficult to show you the same thing. Oh, we forgot to add a piece to that. The whole time you're standing on your kidney point as well, you're not standing on your heel. So when I'm moving my foot across to stand up, and I bring my hand and feet up, the foot I'm standing on, the leg that I'm standing on, this one, I'm standing on the ball of my feet and my toes. My heel's on the ground, but there's no weight in it. I'm actually sitting on the balls of my feet, and I've got my knee slightly bent. So I'm actually standing really precisely on the kidney points and the well points of the toes, and that's where I'm standing. And I stand there for the duration of that. I put it down the other side. The heel touches the ground, but there's no weight on the other side. Yeah, and it comes up, comes back down again. Change weight. Same thing on the other foot. I'm standing on the ball of my foot. I'm not standing on my heel. There's no weight on my heel. My heel's just touching the ground. Yeah. And so the precision comes with the stepping. It was this perfect stepping from kidney point to kidney point. Both heels never touch the ground, or they touch but you're not standing on them. There's no weight on them at all. They're just resting on the ground. And you've got your knees bent. So when you bend your knee, of course, when you're standing on one leg, there's another thing happens. Yep, cool. We'll do another one-legged exercise. We did them the other day, but we're doing them for a different reason today. So we'll do bouncing the ball in the sunshine, which is from the Shue Ba Shue. That exercise from the long life Qigong. This is from the Shue Ba Shue. So this is the same thing. We're going to go across. And this time we've got the articulation of your arms moving. That can throw your balance out. But you can cheat. You can do it this way. And I can do it fast like that. And I can get away with not being in balance while I do that. I can do it that way. Just for if you haven't done this for a while. Remember, the foot comes up, the hand's facing towards the knee, and the other hand straight. Yeah? Then we circles with the hands, and then it swaps over to the other side. The palm's facing towards the knee, the other palm's out facing the ground. But as I say, when I do this, if I cheat, I can go fast, and you don't know whether I'm in balance or not, because I can cheat like that. But as soon as I go slow, if I'm doing anything where I'm not in perfect balance, if I'm doing anything, I'll do one so that I'll get out of balance. If I'm not in balance like that, see what's happening? It wasn't in perfect balance. But the slowness makes you very obvious that that's what's happening. But you can get away with it when you're going fast. So the part of that is the slowness. And the same thing again, the foot comes back down, toe goes down, heel goes down, comes across, and then the other hand, foot comes up. You have to be 100% weighted. Yeah, and not only that, we've got the arms doing these circles, we've got the weight change from one side to the other side. And we've also got the hip going out, so you stick your hip out. Your hip out when you're in the posture from there. Yeah? So it goes across, up, hands rotating, change weight, and then stick your hip out at the same time. So we've got all of that going on in the exercise, and if you go slow, the precision of that has to be 100% in balance, otherwise you're going to fall over. And this is why I love this, the idea of the slowness, the mechanics of the slowness creates this beautiful, beautiful expression of correctness. Here's a good word, correctness. Correctness as in full energy. When I'm standing right, if I just do it like this, if I move my hand out to the side, it changes the energy of the posture. If I move it back there, it changes it. If I move the hand this one out to the side, it changes it. If I move my foot around so it's facing towards the front, it changes. If I don't stick my hip out, it changes it. And so all of these things, and I usually do the sound, so I'll do the sound so you can hear that. I give you audio of what it feels like inside the body, if it's out of alignment. So by going slowly, you allow yourself to tune your instrument, you're tuning your posture, so it's full power. Yep. So if I come across and I do that, and the sounds, I'll make an audible sound. It's not quite the sound, but it will do so you can then understand the principle. So it goes do. Now if I change something, do. Move my hips. So be a musician, shouldn't I? But understand that's what happens. So it's a very, very fine-tuned thing. The precision is a lot more precise because it's just and I remember I went doing a class one day and I was standing in a horse stance and I got the person to move their foot over 1 finger width wider than the normal horse stance. So when you're doing a normal horse stance, of course, we measure it with our feet from our heel to the tip of our toe, and then our foot sits on exactly where the tip of the toe is there. And don't do this when you see people do this and they roll their foot around like that. Don't do that because that's not precise, because it's actually wider than that, and you've got to put it right where the point is, and then it's exactly the distance. And put a 1 finger width further out, so put the foot out slightly 1 finger further out, and then lift the hands up and feel the energy change. And it changes the structure of the exercise. That small piece of movement of the hips just going out slightly changes the energy flow through the body. It happens with the arms. If you're articulating the arms, if you're articulating the arms or you're holding your arms a certain way, you only have to move fingers, you only have to move wrists, Yeah, can you do kind of close-up shot for a second? Thanks, mate. So if I do the wrist, I'll show you what I mean. If I go like that, if I hold the hand, then it's relaxed, and it's in alignment energetically, and the energy is coming out through the hand. If I change it in any way and go, that's just my thumb. I move my wrist, my elbow. So it's all perfection. And the slowness gives you the expression, so you get to feel what it feels like when it's in the perfect place. And you don't get that when you go fast because you can cheat. You can just move it around. You can do all sorts of things, but you lose that perfect alignment. And so that's what we're focusing on today, is that alignment and how exact that is. Yeah. So we want to go into another exercise. We'll go into we'll do one of the punching ones. We're going to the Bhagwan Jin, and we'll use the drilling fists. Yep, the drilling fist exercise from the Bhagwan Jin. So when the hands come forward, put them on your hips. When the hand comes forward, use the right hand for your fist. Comes forward. Yep. And the whole of the fist is at the top. You open your palm, then you roll your thumb down, then you roll your fingers around, and then turn the hand upside down. Yep. It goes forward. Holding the hand, open the hand. I'll just turn over a second. Palm down, or thumb down, roll the fingers around, turn the hand over. Now the precision of this, because I can do this fast. Yep, and you see martial arts doing that, they do this. Because there's a martial piece to that. But when you go slow, you have to do it perfectly. So it goes forward. As it goes forward, hand comes out into the center line of your body. The hands opens, the palms go open, and as the palm releases the hand, the thumb turns down. But it's not the thumb turning down, it's the elbow rotating. The elbow rotates the arm. The arm, in theory, if you see the arm's not moving at all. Just the elbow's turning. But the whole arm's still staying the same. The forearm's staying the same, which is the elbow's rotating. So when I'm doing that and rotate, the elbow comes down. And then I rotate my elbow back. And that rotating it back is what winds the fingers up. Comes back upside down. And it goes out. Precision. Goes out, center chest. Opens the palms. Elbow winds down. Elbow comes back, unwinds the fingers. Comes back. Now, not only are we doing this, but at the same time as it's coming back, the other hand's coming out, but it's all coming from the hips. So the hips pulling the arm back, and the hand's going out. Open up the hand, turn the hand down. Now to turn the elbow down, I'm going to turn my hip slightly, which is going to turn my elbow down. And then as I come back, my elbow's going to roll over, but my hip's going to come back as well. The hip's slightly going to go one way, and it's going to slightly go back because the hips are driving the arm. So I open the hand, it doesn't drive it opening, but as soon as I rotate it down, the rotation of my elbow is coming from the rotation of my hip down, rotation of my hip back, and it comes back around again. When the hand goes forward, the hips go back. One hand goes forward, the hips goes back the other side, the hand comes out. Open the palm. Hip goes down slightly. Hip comes back as we turn. So when you're going slow, you can see the mechanics of it and how exact this has to be. And you can time in the movement of your hip to the movement of your hand. I'm turning my hips and the hands, my elbows rotating at the same time. And so this is happening. That I should show. I'm not sure if you can see it from the side. I'm turning my hip and my arm's turning because of it. And my rotation of my arm is an exact time with my hip. I'm not just sort of moving my hip back and then I'm rotating my arm and bring the hip forward. It's all connected. It's all connected inside the body. And when you're going slowly, it gives you an opportunity to do the timing of this exercise. Because then you want to time it so when I turn it down, my hips stop. I rotate it back, my hips come back round to the front. Pulls the hip back. Hand comes open. Comes down. Turn. Hips go back, hand goes forward. Hand opens. Hip goes back, turns the elbow down. Hip goes back, rotates the arms, and the fingers come back. So the fingers are moving because of what's happening with the elbow. It's like a fan. You're rotating the fan because of the elbow, and you're rotating that, but it's coming because of the hips moving. So it's all coming, but it looks like everybody just looks at the hand, and you're watching what the hand's doing. It's actually the least of the things that's happening. It's the end of the whip, and the hand movement is all like the same as that. The same with when we go forward. As the hand goes forward, you get to the end of that, and then it releases, and the hand opens it by itself. Because the energy is going down the palm, because you're breathing out at this stage, you're breathing out. It circulates through the fist. And then when you relax the fist, it's just like a flower, it opens the fist. It pushes the fist out, and then the energy goes out through the fingers. And so we have this punch going forward, circulating through, all the energy is going down the arm, and all I have to do is relax, and the hand just opens by itself. It floats open. Yep, goes forward. And then if I stop the hand, then the energy still goes forward, and then the forward movement of the energy is what opens my hand. Then rotate my hips turn the hand down. My hip turns it back around. My hip drives the arm out. The energy going at my hand opens my hand. Hip drives the arm down. Hip turns the hand around and coming back. Now, all of that you get when you go slow. But if you do that fast, you don't see any of that. That you lose the timing. Because you can do this fast. Yeah. You can do it fast. But then you lose the perfection of the exercise. And that's what we're doing. And for us, because of the Qigong, that's not only the perfection we're after, is we're looking for the maximum amount of energy moving in our body, the maximum amount of power in our body, the maximum amount of meridians all completely open and free-flowing through the body, and everything in the body flows smoothly, and there's no blockages. And by going slowly, it gives you the opportunity to see when you're going forward, you go to this point here and you go, oh, I'm going slow. And you can feel the tension in your shoulder. And all you go, oh, I need to drop that shoulder. As soon as you drop the shoulder, the hand changes. And you go from there. You don't even know you're doing this, but when you're going fast, you don't know you're doing it. But when you go slow, you're coming forward. And you go there, slow. And you go, oh, I've picked my shoulder up. And you go, ah, and the shoulder goes down. And then you relax, and then the hand changes. As soon as you do that, and you go, that's the precision. And I think it's a really useful thing to talk about today, and all the Qigong's the same. Even the simplest exercise, wave hands over the lake from Shibashu, and they're coming down. There is a precision in that takes a long, long time to get it right. And something that looks relatively simple, but the timing of the breath and the movement in this is really difficult. It's not easy. Yeah. And it just takes time to feel when you get to the top of the in-breath, and then coming down, your hands and your elbows going down. Oops. And the hands coming up. And then the hands come down. Good. And the timing of that, to get to the bottom, and start in breathing exactly the right point at the bottom, get to the top, and breathe out exactly the point when you get to the top, and then starts breathing out. That bit at the top and the bottom, the precision of that is so much easier to do if you're going slow, because if you're going fast, it's hard to time it because you're just going through the transition too quick. It's like the pendulum shaft. If we have a pendulum shaft, what we have from our heart, energetically, and it's from our heart, it's hanging down, the big balls down here. We know when it gets to the end, it actually changes direction. It stops. It has to stop because it's got to change. And then it starts coming back the other way and goes up the other side. Stops and then comes back down again. Stops because it's changing. It changes direction 100%. It's like going forward, putting your car in reverse and going backwards. Then going forward, putting your car in reverse and going backwards. That's 100% stop. Change gear, come back. And this happens in a millisecond at the end of the swing. As it comes up, there's a millisecond where it hangs and then it comes back down again, where the gravity pulls it back down again. Momentum goes, it gets it up, then gravity pulls it back down again. Yep. That That piece is really, really hard to notice if you're going fast. But if I go slow, I can feel it happening. I can feel where the change is. When I'm doing this exercise, I can feel the top of the arc. I can feel where it changes from one direction, comes back down to the other one. And you get the expression of what that feels like, and the change at the bottom, it comes up. And the change at the top comes back down. That's what I say, it's a beautiful exercise, but it's really difficult to do this and to get the timing correct. And this change, the slower you go, the bigger the change is noticeable. That's an interesting one too, I haven't mentioned that. The slower you get, the more obvious the perfection is. The slower I go, the more I can feel the change that happens inside my body when it changes from one direction to the other. When it gets to the bottom, the slower I go, the easier for it to see the transition when it happens at the bottom and start coming back up again. Now, understand the principle of that. We'll leave you with the philosophical understanding of that. Understanding the slower you go, the more precision. Yeah, that's obvious in a certain way, but it's not obvious in another. More precise you are, more methodical you are, the more energy, the more power comes with it. And to go slow and to do that with that precision and power, you get something very, very unique that comes with inside that quietness, inside the slowness. You get the precision. And with precision as a human being in its body, the human articulation of the body, precision, you get the precision in your mind because your mind understands the different places, the different change rounds where it changes directions. And your mind has the experience and knows what that is. Your body knows what the feeling is. So you're opening up a whole different experience of precision of operating in this physical body, in this physical world. And that's what I think Qigong does, and I think that's what the slowness does. It allows you to see what's really happening inside the quietness. So there you go, I'll leave you with that thought. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and we'll see some of you tomorrow for the 200-hour class tomorrow. 200-hour teachers training is on at the moment still, and we have a live class tomorrow morning, or actually tomorrow afternoon. And for the people doing the weekly class, I'll see you next week. And yeah, practice that. Practice doing your Qigong practice, and practice for the idea of the slowness, and watch what happens inside the perfection. Watch what's happening inside your body, the articulation. Beautiful day, everybody, eh? Roll back on your thumbs. 2 thumbs. Go. Make a fist with your left hand, cover with your right, bring it towards your heart. And then bring your energy down to lower down 10. And that's very precise as well. Very cool. And roll, step back, bow to each other. And anybody else that's going to come and do this class, hope you enjoyed it. Hope that opens a door of the self-discovery of us, our physicality of who we are as a soul in this body of ours, which is quite extraordinary. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.